We are good. So professional. Hello, everybody. Welcome along to another Blether. Great to see the chat is already flying. Great to have you on board. And yeah, how's your week been, Kat? What have you been up to?
What have I been up to? So official start of tour season, actually. It's been a really busy week. First cruise ship came into the harbour in Aberdeen on Tuesday.
Was it Tuesday?
Tuesday, because I was off Monday. Monday was my catch-up day. So, yeah, Tuesday. So we had busloads and busloads of holidaymakers arriving in Aberdeen in March. I was like, yay, well done you for choosing an excellent holiday destination in March. But actually, Tuesday was that really hot day. It was like 16 degrees. Yeah, it was probably taps up. So yeah, it's busy. It really does feel like it's the start of tour season. It's been a hectic old week. Quieter today, but it was fine because today was like a sort of stock catch-up day, delivery day, everything else. So yeah, all good. And just slowing down for my week off next week. Whoop, whoop.
God, you're always off.
Yep, bollocks to that. Can't remember the last time I had a holiday. I'm not going anywhere. I'm just staying at home, but it's school holidays, so at home with the young.
Nice. Right, good stuff. Well, let's say good evening to the guys in the chat. Who have we got coming in? We've got Dave Faxon, who's sitting with a vodka and Coke tonight.
Oh, a little bit different.
You
can tell he's retired. He'd be sat there in his pants with a little umbrella in his glass, probably just living the retired life like a gangster. I see you, Dave.
Exactly what he's doing. Ryan is opening a gifted bottle of French whiskey.
Interesting.
I wonder what the bottle's talent is if it's gifted.
Oh, for God. See, since you became a breeder, your jokes have just become so Christmas cracker. It's ridiculous.
Great. Love it. Paul McKendrick is on. He's giving us a wave. Dutch Jura, good evening to you. Good evening, Ian. Ian is having a couple of US whiskies. Saying it's not his thing, but he got them in a multi-month master of malt calendar. Not as bad as most American ones he's tried. He's got the Peerless 3, the Merchant's Casket Smooth, and the Ambler Old Scout. And Callum is saying good evening, as is Frank Peathead. Good evening to all of you and everyone else who's watching. Feel free to ask away any questions for our guests or for us. We'll probably avoid the ones that are asked for us because we're not as interested. But we will speak, certainly direct the other chat in the direction of the Whisky Monster, who we are just away to bring on right now.
Oh, yeah. Hello.
Hello.
I should have given you a wee bit of warning there and say it.
By surprise.
Just like, there we go. Normally when I do with that cat, she's got a mouthful of tea or something like that.
Yeah, we should have maybe kind of counted you in any minute now, but I hope you weren't actually ready to get up and leave. Like if you had.
No, I was ready.
Excellent. Welcome to the Blether. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. We're excited to have you on.
Thanks for having me, Kat, Mike. Like, I'm happy to be here.
Oh, I know.
We were just Los Angeles morning, still morning.
Well, yeah. So what time is it with you just now? You're an hour.
11:37 a.m. right now.
Oh, yeah. Okay, that's not too bad. So you're kind of past the yard arm. You could probably have a dram if you wanted to, but we know that you're not feeling that great tonight.
That's all right. There's nothing like a breakfast whiskey.
We quite often have a few American folk joining us for the chat.
What would be your go-to?
We've got a delay between us, Mike. We're going to talk over each other. Oh no, it's a bad delay.
Great. It might catch up.
I'll let you
yeah,
tell
we
us.
normally kind of saying about the we've got a couple of American guys who come on, but I don't know if they're in. I think are you in the same time zone as San Francisco?
Yes, it's the same one.
Yeah.
I saw some fellow faces on the introduction, so it's lovely to be, including amongst them.
Excellent. Good stuff. I was going to ask you, what would be your breakfast dram? If you mentioned breakfast whiskey, what would be your ideal breakfast whiskey?
I would keep it and go towards something cereal forward, honestly.
Nice.
I like bourbon barrel age, possibly. Like right now, I got some feta cane in front of me already. 16-year-old feta cane could be a good idea because it's tropical enough, and there are some Syrian notes with banana bread. That could be one of them. I would certainly go for a Daff Mill when I think about it. I
always describe Daff Mill. Well, some of the bourbon ones, maybe not so much the sherry ones, but the Daff Mill.
Yeah, absolutely. It's bourbon cast for sure for this today.
Yeah. And anything, probably 46 would be the highest I'd go at that time of the morning. Yeah. Maybe a 40, 43, unless I've had a really crap morning.
It's up to the whiskey, but probably 43.
Yeah.
You want something too much.
Especially if you still got to drive to work. You don't want to do that.
Oh, yeah.
Hashtag responsible drinking.
We can arrange that. Drink responsibly, guys. But I've been seeing some of the American whiskeys. They're not bad at all. Like Peerless 3, the Merchant Cask is a good one. Smooth Ambler is always a solid one.
Yeah.
But the French whiskey is actually surprising me because when I was in Whiskey Lab Paris, I was astonished by the amount of French single malts that were showcased at the show.
Okay.
Which were almost none when you go back 12, 13 years ago at the show. So that was surprising. So I'm happy that people are gifting it and people are drinking it.
Yeah. I remember when we opened the shop, I tried to get a couple of world whiskies, and the only French one I could find was Amérique. Yeah, that was the only one I could get my hands on. But yeah, as you said, there's loads tonight. So, Ian, there's this comment saying it's a bit quiet on your feed. I think some of the guys, if you want to comment, guys at home, that you can just let us know if you can hear Koray.
Let me try. I think it should be better now.
We'll go with it. I can hear you fine. Kat, can you hear? Okay.
Yeah, I can. Yeah, and I'm just going to sit quiet until my internet catches up. I'm just going to go and chase my children off the internet just in case it's me that's got the lag. I'll be back in 2 seconds.
Yeah, just put that adult viewership.
Yeah. And Paul is at home. He is doing homework. He's got cast sampling tonight. So he is working away. Paul McKendrick, obviously, of Lady of the Glen.
That's lovely.
Ryan is on a French oak finish. French whiskey and French oak. It's a match made in heaven. I was going to say what I'm drinking tonight, or what I'm starting off tonight, is a wee gin martini.
That's my start of the day usually, Mike. That's how I start my evenings. Not today, apparently.
Not today. This was the obviously we were speaking about being on your website, having a wee nosy, and then came across your video, finding out it's your favorite cocktail. I love a gin martini. One of my favorite drinks as well. I thought,
I would say I'm not a good mixologist, but I do make my classic cocktails to my liking very well. So that's why I share that.
100%. I think everyone's an expert in what they like, so and how they like. So Slange.
I'll join you with some water for now. Just for clarity, I just came back from UK and I caught a little cold. Just trying to be responsible on my end, but I will have.
You can't go blaming us for your cold. Yeah.
No. I was blaming London. I spent 5 days in London, so that was all.
Fair enough. I'll let you go.
Airplanes are the worst. They're just like big tubes of recycled air. You're always going to get ill on an airplane. But yeah, hopefully you get over the worst of it soon, because you're coming back. I mean, you're never, I mean, for anybody that follows your social media, and this will link into the main question of what you do, like you fairly jet set around the world. And we're, so for clarity, I met you about 3 years ago at Glengarry, and you were working on the Ardrey brand then, I think. Yeah. And then I sort of been following you since then. And as I clarified in the green room, online, not stalking, but you get around. And now, for anybody that doesn't follow you in socials, look up your Instagram, Whisky Monster, and your website. But I started bullet pointing everything you do. And I was like, do you know what? This is ridiculous. I'm going to wait till you come on the Blether, and I'm going to let you introduce who you are and what you do. I'm going to see if you can just bullet point that and get it into like a bio, because it's quite impressive. I've sold 2 pages with it. So I'm like, it's over to you.
I would love to see those pages later on, but long story, pretty long. Originally, I started making money, like professional life, as a saxophonist. I played saxophone for a number of years, started when I was 11. Then 9-10 years of this was a period that I actually traveled around bars, had gigs, and made money out of it. But I was also studying engineering at the same time. And not later, I realized that I play good, but I don't play that good to make my life out of saxophone. So I decided to continue my engineering career, and I finished civil engineering in Turkey. Then I also was not that good as a bachelor's student, but I fell in love with this particular line of engineering, which is called ocean engineering, where you design coastal structures like marinas, piers, or breakwaters. Then I decided to do that, and I started doing a master on it. I was pretty successful on that one, I can assure you that. And I did like, I had really a good time studying that. But when I finished that, I started working as a project assistant in the university. Then at the end of that, I had the chance to travel to Denmark as an exchange student for a year. And I went there, and my wonderful university told me that they're not going to accept my credits. And I was like, what am I going to do now? And they're like, do whatever. So every faculty in Denmark, at least the city I was living in, they have a bar downstairs. And I volunteered as a bartender, which meant 3 shifts a week, and they were paying me in the form of beer and spirits. And I like during when I was a musician, I loved whiskey. I did drink a lot of whiskey, but the choices were limited because there was no single malts popular at the time. It was mainly like the usual suspects: Johnny Walker, Chivas, Jack Daniels, and Jim Beam. I had an understanding of whiskey, but then in Denmark, I had my first single malt Scotch whiskey, which is a Bletheren. And we Turkish people, we love our smoky things. And I was like, okay, I need to understand why there was smoke in this one. Then my engineering part got into me, and I did my research. My time in Denmark finished. I went back to Turkey as an engineer. I had a really boring job, which was technically drawing projects. And I had a lot of time, and on that time, I built a blog. And I just wrote everything about I experienced in Denmark, like the beers, the wines, the whiskeys that I tried. I went to Noma before it was famous and infamous right now, same thing. So I did all of those and wrote that on my blog. And it took off because there was no Twitter, there was no Instagram at the time. It was a Tumblr blog, which took off in a short amount of time. Then I moved to the biggest city in Turkey, Istanbul, and I had a lot of opportunities with companies, with brands. I met them, they invited me, I took some whiskey courses there. And after some time, I found myself writing about beer with 2 like-minded friends. And we started having tastings at each other's houses. And this was also not a popular thing back in the time. But then when we did this, everybody on Twitter at the time, they started texting us, why don't you do it public? And promoting alcoholic beverages in Turkey is still prohibited. And at the time, it was also prohibited. So it was illegal. But we were like, okay, screw that. We can do that. We did a few. We sold it off. Then I did it for wine and whiskey. And my first whiskey tasting, I was like, I do want to have this in my life. next to engineering. But fast forward 2 years later, I made the same money from 2 whiskey tastings from a month of it compared to a month of engineering.
Oh, wow.
And that led me to decide on doing this for my life. And I think I used all my luck because I was looking forward to living abroad, and I was working on Australia at the time with my engineering career. Then somehow from the lottery, I hit the US green card and decided to move to San Francisco. Then moved to San Francisco, started from scratch. I love that. And I looked for ambassador jobs. Nothing was there. So I started working as a spirits buyer at a liquor store. I'm thankful for that, honestly, experience, because I learned a lot. And I worked there a year and a half. Then an Indian gentleman came from India for his brand twice. And the second time we met, he was like, would you like to be our ambassador? And that person was Mr. Paul John from Paul John Whiskey. And I was like, yeah, sure. So they hired me for the West Coast and Devin Villardi, who works for Remy Cointreau right now for the East Coast. So we started to bring the lovely world of Indian whiskey in the US. And a couple of years later, they joined the Sazerac portfolio. So I found myself as a Sazerac national ambassador for their imported brands. And a couple of years later, I was like, I fulfilled my ambition for this job. So I got the rare opportunity to join Suntory to release Outre. That's where I met Kat at Glengarry. And 2 years ago, I joined White & Mackay portfolio as a single malt specialist for Southern California. So I'm working with the Dalmore and Fedicane. Meanwhile, I tried not to stop writing about whiskey independently on Whisky Monster. So that's the thing. Whisky Monster has always been kind of a neutral space for whiskeys, where I wanted to showcase everything I know about whiskey. Like, am I unbiased to everything? Absolutely no. No peanut butter whiskey on my website. Like, there's one, you will see that. But I try to reach out to every brand and talk to them, and that's a venue that I just write my thoughts. And I travel the world. I love traveling. My travels are mainly built around the fact of how can I see more distilleries, where can I go and learn more, how can I find some unique things to show my followers. Like, I was just in France in September, and I stayed 2 nights at a cognac house in their estate. I had breakfast with the families and dinner with the family, and just seeing how they do the business. Then I went to Champagne, which is also an obsession of me, and spent a couple days there. Then I went to Paris for Whisky Live Paris as a guest, as a media person, not working, so I can see what's happening, what are new, what are the new things, like the French whiskey information I was giving to you, and also like master classes and everything. So I'm just trying to deliver the word of whiskey to people on Whisky Monster. But since I fell in love, I'm also working in the industry, and I'm so happy that all my companies so far have led me to work on both of the venues.
I was going to ask how they feel about you doing the independent as well. They're pretty cool about it.
There's a thin line, so don't cross over that thin line, I guess.
Yeah, and I found that interesting as well, because on your website, and you can even see, not your website, sorry, your Instagram and behind you as well. I mean, when you say World Whiskies, you can almost see your travels in your bottles. You've got such a broad palette of world whiskies.
Starting from here, there's Indian, Taiwanese, and we come to Australia. There's Korean, this is new. There's English and Israeli. So that's the World Whiskey part. This is all the independent bottlers. And those 2 shelves are Compass Box. This is all the blends. Behind me is the smoky part. Top shelves, there are a few more. Speyside, Highlands.
Do you know, if it doesn't work out in whiskey, you would make an excellent weatherman. The way you pointed behind you like that. Every time I say to somebody my whiskey shelf, I'm like, no, wait, where's my whiskey shelf? It's there. You did that really well.
Don't give me ideas, Kat.
What?
Okay. Ian just commented saying he often thinks he has too many bottles of whiskey at home and then he sees your background and realizes he's just an amateur.
Well, we don't call it amateur, we call it healthy. This is not healthy. So I did a calculation. If I drank a considerable amount of whiskey every day, this will not, like, I would die before the bottles are done.
It's impressive. Are you in like a sort of garage, or is this just like your sort
No,
of?
that's my office. That's one of the
I like it.
in the house.
It's fantastic.
I think behind me there are like 3 more shelves. It's 550 bottles right now.
Wow, that's impressive. Do you have a spreadsheet? You must have a spreadsheet.
I used to. I don't anymore. I know where.
Thank God. Oh, I hate whiskey spreadsheets. No offense to everyone at home who's got a whiskey spreadsheet, but if you ever ask me, do I want to see your spreadsheet? I'll smile and say yes, but I really don't. But I'll smile and say yes.
There's a nice question. As a sax player, what's the most requested song?
And why is
it Baker Street? It is not Baker Street. It may be Baker Street in UK. It is Careless Whisper in the rest of the world.
See, I was going to say Careless Whisper, basically because I wanted to counter Baker Street. It was the only thing that came to my head as well was Careless Whisper.
Yeah, it's just.
Yeah. So that's more requested than Baker Street.
Yeah, well, it's more known in Turkey, so that's probably why.
Okay.
And actually, when I was a kid, it was more Pink Panther.
That's one I can relate to. That is a good.
Now we're at catch level. That's cool.
I think it changes as you grow up.
Maybe
it will be Baker Street in like 5-10 years. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't quite got there yet, but maybe. So for the guys, do you still quite often on a Friday you'll do like a little Friday saxophone kind of live on your? Yeah. Well, that's
I
cool.
found myself really. How can I put it this way? I love my saxophone. It's the way that I express myself, and especially after whiskey have become my life, like, because it's just not a hobby anymore. I also do it as my day job.
Mm-hmm.
So it's literally consumes most of my day. And last year, I found myself playing at a jam session in LA, and I was like thinking, okay, I should do this more. Then around last year, December, I had some life events changing, and I had some free time. And I was like, okay, every Friday, now I want to put some music. And this happened because I put a story with my saxophone, and it was viewed like thousands of times. And I was like, okay, I think people are liking this. It gives me joy, and I can keep myself accountable if I do a Friday tunes every week. I have no idea what I'm going to do tomorrow because my nose is not working right now. And I have to record that. And the idea was taking a song, playing on it, maybe 20-30 seconds, and not pairing it with a whiskey, but just drinking a whiskey next to it. And I think that worked pretty well. And it's been 6 weeks, if I'm not wrong right now. I'm having a lot of joy. I even had a guest singer for the last 2 of them. And it's fun, it's nice, and I'm enjoying it. I think that's what it's all about when you are a musician and not an active musician. It's just, if you enjoy it, if you can let your feelings go by playing it, it's beautiful. That's why I'm doing that.
It's such a talent. I've got no musicality at all. So anytime somebody can play an instrument, I think it's fantastic. But I guess it's one of those things you've got to keep doing it as well, because you always have it in you. But I guess you'll get a bit rusty if you don't keep doing it.
Yeah. I played the accordion from the age of 8 till about 15, and gave it up. I always regret not keeping it up. And then I tried to play again, but by this time we had dogs, and as soon as I started playing, the dogs went mad. So I put it away again and haven't looked at it since. It's still at my folks' house. Never looked at it again. Maybe something for a future.
Maybe your kids will pick it up. I was asked to stop playing the recorder at school, so that kind of seals the deal for me.
I was really good with recorder. I can tell you that.
You were good at it.
I was really good at it.
No.
And like that actually let me paved the way to be a saxophonist.
Mm-hmm.
But my next instrument, I want to do a bagpipe so bad.
Amazing.
Just open the door in LA in the morning and wake up all my neighbors. Oh my God, that's my dream.
I always wanted my kids to learn, but none of them were that interested. My friend used to play them, and they're actually really difficult to play. Like, she blew the whole bag up. I don't know if there's a technical term for the bag. And she said, right, just blow into the chanter. And I blew as hard as I could, and it just kind of went, and that was it. And she'd done all the actual hard work. It's really, really difficult. You need good lungs.
It is really difficult.
Yeah.
No, it's not just lungs, because you put it on your arms and you have to squeeze it at the same time.
Yeah, it's a lot of coordination.
It's quite tough.
Very impressive. I love how we just got into music when, like, you just described like 10 years worth of like this amazing career. But it's so cool finding out different things about people as well. So, like, what does on you go, Mike?
I would just say 100%. Yeah, massive respect for anyone who not only plays an instrument but can kind of freestyle it, as kind of you're describing there, and go off on tangents. It's not a case of reading music and playing what other people have created. You've also got that talent to be able to. But a lot of that is kind of sax, blues, jazz. There's a lot of kind of improvisation, a lot, feeling the music and feeling the mood, isn't it?
It is. It is solely about. It's not just feeling the mood. It's also transcribing what you are living that day, your thoughts, your feelings, and giving it to the saxophone. And honestly, the content creation came to a certain level that everybody's an expert right now. Like, when you go to the first days of Instagram, it was all about taking a photo of something, putting it on your feed. Right now, there are teams. Like, I have a camera that I just had to buy because it's the most comfortable thing, and that's how I'm recording right now. Or, sometimes I get lazy and I don't do the microphone, and then I was like, okay, I need to use the microphone, so let's re-record it. So now it's about thinking about the whiskey, the scene, the video, then the song, and the song just doesn't happen at one take. Unfortunately, wish it was. I'm not that professional, and it became a good amount of work. And I think that sparks creativity in the best way, because then you have to do the things at your best, and that's how all the emotions and all what you're feeling has to be there, speaking to the audience.
Yeah.
I mean, I think a lot of what you do as a day job is that sort of performative part of it as well. Like, standing up in front of a room full of people is quite intimidating, and no matter how many times I do it, you still always get that kind of nervous moment of, like, I'm an imposter, or like, what if they all think I'm an idiot? Like, what if I don't actually know the answers to all of this? Which, of course, is not true, but you kind of have to almost go into performance mode. I don't know if you're the same, Mike, but I definitely kind of go into like sort of work mode. I'm not that same person all the time. Do you find the same yourself, Koray, or is it kind of one of the same?
Things have changed for me a little bit in the, let's say, before COVID. I now have a switch mode, even if I'm not feeling myself. I just switch, and when I get into the room, it's all different for me. And I can just get into the mood immediately. It didn't used to be like that. I was actually a pretty introverted child until I started playing the saxophone. That changed me a lot. But lately, especially when I'm doing my day job, like talking to audiences, talking to trade partners and everything, like presenting your whiskey, is just, even if I feel bad, and let's be honest, we are not feeling that good nowadays with the world situation and everything. But what we do is fun. What we do is really joyful, and that brings sparks to people's eyes. And I was like, okay, you have to do that. Even if I'm not. But I'm usually in a good mood when I'm doing that. And I think I learned the way in, around 30 years, how to speak to people, even if it is not in my own language.
Well, so I mean, I think the sort of the silverware you've got proves that. It's like 5 years in a row. I wrote down all your accolades, but I've written them everywhere in between things like plays saxophone. Like, he's got a cool website. You're 5 years in a row as America's brand ambassador.
No, not exactly.
5 years.
2023, I was named as the World Whiskey Brand Ambassador of the Year in Americas and Global by Icons of Whisky. 2024, I didn't get anything. 2025, I was named as the Communicator of the Year, both in Americas and Global. And this year, I was named as the Scotch Whisky Brand Ambassador of the Year in America.
That's still pretty impressive. So, I mean, that's not bad going.
In the largest whiskey market, I'm happy.
Yeah. Well done.
Yeah, congratulations.
Thank you.
I feel like you're one of these people that we all know, even though we maybe don't know you. But like, I just feel like you're just quite a well-known face in the whiskey world, and it's one of those things of, I think maybe social media plays a part in that, or you just think you know somebody better than you do because you've just watched voyeuristically watched their day job.
Yeah, and it's also the case that I started my affection to whiskey by saying like, okay, if I can drink my whiskey for free in my life, I'll be happy. That's the point it all started. Then it became a passion, and I think I'm just very honest about what I feel about whiskey, and that brought me a lot of attention on social media of things. And when I moved to the US, I was really clear about I want to be in this industry, and I still want to change something in the Scotch industry in the next 10 or 20 years. I'm not giving up anything, or I'm not stopping. And whoever meets me probably gets that feeling from me. And again, it's all about authenticity. It's all about being honest. And I think people see that. And I also, unfortunately, I'm a creative person. So that brings me a lot of trouble, but that brings me a lot of wonderful things too, because we were talking about music and whiskey. The first music and whiskey thing I did was with Jack Daniels back in Turkey. We paired one song for every single bottle of Jack Daniels, including the Sinatra, and we played it in a band in a music shop. So that was like, that ignited a lot of things. Even now, we are doing something. Actually, Andy Lenny with Vatican, he's doing something in the UK, and I'm actually bringing that to the US right now, where we're talking about how can we incorporate these creative ideas to respective markets, so we can actually show these to people and make them more happy. It's all about happiness, and it's all about making people feel that joy.
Yeah, definitely. We've quite often ended up speaking about how whiskey music kind of come together, or people have suggested songs for music or distilleries as songs. I think we ended up going down a rabbit hole one night.
Different bands for different distilleries, how you'd pair a band, or who would Macallan as a band pursue, or things like that. It's a good chat. We've got Ian Abernethy, who's commented there. I wonder if music can change your perception of flavour. If you did two blind tasting events with different music, but the same whiskey,
Absolutely. Like that's if I'm not wrong, there are scientific backgrounds to this. But also, like, just listen to one song that you are really enthusiastic dancing with, and listen to another song which is really dark and sad, reminding you of one of your grief moments, and have the same whiskey, and you won't feel the same thing. I'm assuring you that flavors are going to be totally different.
Yeah,
we talk a lot about it, and how I personally feel that there's nothing closer than whiskey and music, and how connected they are, and it's all about who you're with, why you're drinking or listening, what mood you're in, what time of day, where you are. You'll like a whiskey one day, but maybe not the next day, and the whiskey hasn't changed. It's your mood, is where you are, or something like that. And music's exactly the same. I think it's
absolutely
very, very personal.
I think the most important thing for me while sipping the whiskey is the company. Yeah. I try not to sip alone if it's not for work. I always try to drink with someone. Like, I have this many whiskeys at home, but when I'm alone, I don't drink. Mm-hmm. And that's one of the most important things for my health too. So I remember that. But again, the company is the first thing. Then the music comes, then food comes, and the other things like cigars or whatever.
Yeah. Sounds like the start of a good night, to be honest. I think we'll all pop around yours. You're right as well, though. Like, sometimes, and we end up saying this all the time, but yeah, sometimes the best whiskey is not the best whiskey bottle you've bought. It was the best moment you had with a group of mates and opening up a...
One of my best memories happened with this one. Green Label, simple.
Bloody love Johnny Walker Black, honestly.
Like, it's just go-to. I still remember the moments. Like, I was watching World Cup with a friends of mine back in Turkey with this bottle. Perfect time. So it's just, it doesn't have to be fancy. There are fancy bottles behind me, but some of the memories actually pretty much 80% of the memories I had was quite simple whiskeys.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. what is the malt whiskey scene in Turkey like? My dad used to take us to Turkey for holidays when I was a kid, but I haven't been back since I was about, I don't know, 14
So
years old.
I am happy to say I'm one of the trailblazers of single malt scene in Turkey back in the time, and I left Turkey 9 years ago, and I worked in the industry for a solid 3 years. So 12 years ago, single malt was not that different from any other countries. It was mostly Glenfiddich, Glenlivet, and Macallan, which used to be the higher tier whiskey at the time. But it was mostly about American whiskeys, Jack Daniels and Jim Beam, and also Johnny Walker and Chivas. And Chivas is now like Turkey is the country that sells most Chivas 12, if I'm not wrong.
Wow, okay.
And yeah, so there is an incredible whiskey scene which is speaking to a smaller audience because of the alcoholic beverage rules and also the governmental approach to alcoholic beverages. The tax is incredibly high, and that means the purchase power of people is not that high, and that also brings down the amount of whiskey that a certain person can buy. But there's a smaller circle of people who are making a little bit more money, and they are making the single malt drinkers in Turkey, and they are very passionate about it. I'm still surprised with the amount of whiskey they can drink during the whiskey festivals when I meet them, because I changed. Like, I cannot drink that much, but they still keeping their caliber, and they can still consume a lot of whiskey. And a friend of mine who used to be a civil engineer, but they also had a liquor store. He actually started importing whiskey from Scotland. Now he's an importer. A lovely gentleman that I know from the past who used to be a journalist. He is one of the whiskey writers right now at the same time. A doctor I know, he became a keepers of Quay right now. So everything changed in the last 12 years, and this was mainly a group of passionate people, and including me. We started working on it. We organized the first whiskey festival of Turkey on World Whiskey Day. I think it was back in 2014, if I'm not wrong. And we started organizing the first whiskey tastings. And there, not to mention the other guys, like there were beer enthusiasts that did beer tastings, that they organized craft beer competitions. This happened at the same time. And right now, when you look at it, Turkey just improved themselves to be, I think, in the top 10 countries for exports for Scotch whiskey. That's incredibly impressive.
Yeah.
That's like unbelievable. And because the amount of people that are drinking single malt is not that much, but the interest is so good. And of course, like the numbers of blended Scotch whiskey helps it. Like Chivas 12 consumption is still top notch.
Yeah.
And there is an interest. People are trying to learn it. But at the same time, when you look at the Middle East culture, it's also a luxury. It also shows you the social tiers. The higher the price of the whiskey goes, it sometimes means the more luxury it is. And that's why people tend to be drawn to. But there's an incredible culture that are working on it. Unfortunately, nowadays the economy is so bad, but I think they're still trying to keep it up on that.
Yeah.
Are there any Turkish whiskies to watch out for? Okay, so sorry, I just picked it up.
Yeah, guys. I was just waiting for the impression from Ryan. Yeah,
that's a heartbreaking topic. There was a Turkish whiskey called Ankara whiskey, and Ankara is the capital of Turkey, and that was named after my hometown. I'm from there, and it was linked to the government for a long time. Now, long story short, around 2000, into early 2000s, the new government took the control over, and the new government is quite religious, so they don't like the word of alcohol, but they love the tax coming with that. And unfortunately, they decided to sell the brand from, it was a state-owned company. They decided to sell it to Diageo, and Diageo at the time, they couldn't see the upcoming rise of whiskey, and they decided to mothball the distillery, and that's the end of Turkish whiskey. However, they were offered some cash for the copper pot stills, and they sent those copper pot stills to USA, to Virginia Distillery. So nowadays, whenever you sip a Virginia distillery whiskey, it's actually made by the same couple pot stills. So
Oh,
that's a
wow.
nice and sad story. But also, there have been some brilliant entrepreneurs that wanted to do that, but the laws don't make it easy. You have to have a facility of 1 million liters capacity to make distilled alcohol. And
Really?
that makes it really hard and expensive. And of course, when you put into maturation, the stocks and inventory and the people, it is unfeasible. That's why we don't have it right now. Though, a couple of friends of mine who I met in the time, they started a gin brand called Mosaic Gin, and they are making it in Scotland, if I'm not wrong. And they actually use botanicals that are foraged from Turkey.
All right. Okay.
And they just laid down some single malt Scotch whiskey in the cask.
That's
And
exciting.
they are laying those down in Turkish wine barrels.
Oh, wow. Amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, well, there you go. Hopefully, maybe the revival of the Turkish whiskey industry.
We'll see. I don't see it really happening, but we'll see.
I mean, it's such a hot country in the summer. Like you're sort of, you wouldn't have a long maturation, I guess, for anything that you do
The
produce.
northern part of Turkey is pretty similar to UK, especially Scotland.
Okay.
So that's I was thinking. As we are talking about Turkish casks, I do want to open my dram at Vatican 18, finished in Scottish oak.
Yeah, so because Fidcare planted their own little forestry of Scottish oak, didn't they, next to the distillery?
Up north in the forest.
I love
Vatican.
Vatican.
Vatican is amazing.
Yeah, it's such a beautiful distillery. It's slange to your health and your snotty nose.
I hope so. I'm better.
Yeah, I'm just making sure we've not missed any questions because the chat was flying in there for a second, but I've got this stupid little thing on my screen that says I need to update, and I'm trying to get rid of it. So if I do just die suddenly, it's because my laptop's just decided to update without my consent. But
did you notice that our names are blue, Cat?
Say again?
Did you notice that our names are blue?
I did notice our names are blue, but I couldn't remember whether they'd always been blue or not. So I didn't query it.
No idea. I think it's maybe just to match your jumper.
Yeah, that's it. And we're just, that'd be awesome if our names just coordinated with my outfit every single week. I'd love to say we were that organized, but we're lucky if we go live on time most weeks, to be honest.
Ian has cracked open an Artful Dodger Colila 9-year-old and a Golden Cask House of Macduff 12-year-old. So he's gone off. He's away from the American whiskies. He's back on the Scotch. Artful Dodger.
I've been living in the state for a time, and I'm still on the Scotch side of things.
Well, I know I keep meaning to get into world whiskey. I was over in Denmark like last month, and I tried some Danish whiskey, which I was really, really impressed with because they haven't got really the same. It was. No, it wasn't. It looks like THY. Is it Thai?
Yeah.
Yeah, did that one. And one that looks like Fairy. Paul, help me out.
Let's see. Whiskey.
Yeah, there was one that was done. It was like the malt was smoked with nettles, which I thought was very cool because I love cooking with nettles, and it generally tastes like nettles, which is very, very cool. But yeah, I was really impressed with their whiskies and just how they could do like something a little bit different. And then of course, Mike, you had the Aurora Spirits guys over. Seeing you last.
Colin and Tor. They from Bifrost. Well, the Bifrost is the spirits and Aurora is the distillery. They have, similar to yourselves in Turkey, they have very strict rules on what they can and can't do. But yeah, some of the stuff, they had a whiskey in a teak cask, which was outstanding. Really nice.
One of the most important, interesting things was during one of my travels to Iceland. And the first thing I did was, checked into the hotel, just wore everything on me because it was February. So I just found the local distillery called Floki. And I went there, and they were making malt whiskey with sheep dung.
Yes, I've heard of this.
We were speaking about that.
Not the most pleasant thing I had, but it was so interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I came from farming, so when I think of sheep dung, like it's quite a sensory experience. It would be quite hard to not have that in the back of my mind. But Fairy Lochen, that was the name. Fairy Lochen, that was the Danish one. Well, Paul Dempsey says hello to you as well. We've got Paul on tonight, which is nice.
To see you.
What's your sort of shout out for world whiskies we should all be looking at? If we were experimenting world whiskies for the first time, where's your kind of pin on the map start there? They're one to look out for.
If you asked me this question a few years ago, I would say Indian for sure. And because they had the advantage, both Indian and Taiwanese, like Kavalan and Amrut and Paul John, they had the advantage of using the climate to their best advantage. And they create incredible stuff. But lately, like I've been sipping some English whiskies. Like this Scott Free from Compass Box. That was lovely. And they only use English. I think it's a blended malt. So
I love the names that Compass Box come out with.
Yeah. And there's this bottle. It's called a Filey Bay.
Yeah.
It's a port cast finish, and that's amazing too. I think they did a quite amazing job with Starward in Australia. And, they had some production delays now, so it's going to change a little bit. But I think every country are making their whiskeys in such a way that it tastes somehow interesting and pleasant. And I think that's also due to people that know whiskey more now and travel around the world to make better whiskeys. People are taking their jobs really, really intentional. Like this Key One whiskey, that was fascinating for me. But again, like if there's a new starter person to single malts from abroad, I would certainly go to Taiwan and India first to see how different it can get. Because it's different, especially if you're in the UK, that's a different climate. You have to see what the impact of climate. And the impact of climate in India versus US, even though some of the places are quite the same, is not the same because the pressure are different. Pressure is different, and the barley you're using is different. The water source is different, and US has been making an American single malt for quite a time right now. We have commissions and everything. When you look at those whiskeys, quality coming from there and quality coming from Taiwan, in the same amount of time, in the same amount of in the same type of barrels, they can be really different. Whiskey made in Seattle, which is quite on the same parallel with Scotland, it's going to taste way different because the oak is different.
Yeah,
and like there are a lot of local variables that actually makes a lot of impact on the whiskey. So I think it is nice to understand those variables. But again, I would go with Kavalan, Amrut, Indri, Paul John. These brands are going to give you some of the apex of what world whiskey is. And then you can just travel, make your way around. You can try some Swedish whiskey, Danish whiskey, or German whiskey. They try to be something, but French whiskey is coming, and that's different. And come on, like the French are making Armagnac and Cognac. They know something about maturing whiskey. So
yeah. Ian is saying he was impressed with Kavalan when in a Taiwan bar recently, and he picked up the Fino finish bottle from the airport on the way back. Kavalan's been around for a long time. It's really kind of got that, as you say, that benefit of experience and that time to kind of nurture the casks and the now did refill cask.
Also, one of the trailblazers, Jim Swan. He changed a lot of things for the whiskey industry, and
100%.
A lot of companies, took advantage of working with him, and it's nice to have these. And I'm glad that these happened pre this whiskey boom, so that we could actually taste a lot of good examples of that without doing it.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, what is it for yourself then? Looking at you have no affinity to Scotch, but it was Scotch that got you into whiskey. what is it about Scotch that makes it stand out against guys like Kavalan or Amrut or the other countries?
Scotland itself, first of all. I can never get bored of Scotland. I was just there last week, and I hope to be there next month, and I hope to be there one more time in the summer this year. It always has a new story to tell you, and when people asks me like, where should we go in Scotland? You have been there a lot. I'm like, it's just not a one-trip place. It's a multi-trip location, and you can go to Aberdeen. You can visit golf sites. You can go to Glengarry, or you can just go to Highlands and visit different distilleries and fall in love with Loch Ness, or you can just go visit Isle of Skye or Islay. It's like it's not gonna finish. And what I like is the place and the people, and I will tell it out loud. Scottish people are the prettiest people I have ever known as personality, and I had nothing but a smile from them, and that makes me always smile. And though these things, people and geography, they bring in the stories, the heritage, the stories of how whiskey came to this day is obviously so beautiful. That was the first thing that pulled me to fall in love with Scotch. The other thing is, of course, the flavors. Well, the technical part is if you ever come to the US and if you tell the whiskey, and my American friends are going to kill me for that. I find American whiskey, especially bourbon, a little bit one-dimensional. And this dimension, unfortunately, happens because of the barrel limitations, because you can only use one type of barrel in the US for that, and barrels are giving, let's agree on that, a big chunk of the flavors to the whiskey, and with the climate itself too. So I always describe that as if bourbon is this much of a book, Scotch is a bigger book. And of course, and you can talk about maybe cognac and Armagnac being a little bit bigger book because the grapes are changing every single year in quality and harvest than the beer and the wine. So it just gets larger. But what I like is the taste variance of Scotch is amazing from the north to south, from the lowland to Campbelltown, or when you go Daffmill. Who expects something like that from Daffmill? That waxy, creamy feeling. And you don't expect that when you hear the story, but then you go to the old Talisker 18. I can just sell my soul for it. It's an amazing whiskey, to be honest. Or when you go and taste those, and this is all about the spirit. And you go to Dalmore, which I was there last week, and I had this most wonderful whiskey made by Richard in the time, and it was just a sample bottle. And then you see the importance of craftsmanship and aging in a perfect barrel. And these things change everything a lot. And then with the stories, of course, like the heritage of each distillery. And then you go to Macallan, you see this wonderful settlement over there. Some call, like they have a lot of names for it, but it's a marvelous place. And then you go to Glengarry and you see this incredible, perfect historical place that you actually can make the whiskey that you know of.
And you could do barley angels on the floor. I'm pretty sure I got you guys all making barley angels on the floor.
I have a video of Steph. I'm gonna show it to her kid when she grows up.
It doesn't actually work as well as you hope it's going to, but But yeah, it's always a fun experience. I was thinking, we've mentioned Daphne a couple of times, and Mike and I were both over at David Stirk's Independent Spirit Festival 2 weeks ago now, Mike. And Francis, he's such a fantastic character. And we keep touching on this idea that whiskey is more than the spirit. It's like, it's the place, it's the people. And then, Daphne is so surprising because it's just even though it's quite unassuming, it's just such a big character. And I think if you could ever describe Francis, it would be the exact same way you describe his whiskey. 100% farm, 100% unassuming, but underneath that, a massive character that you weren't expecting. And I just think he's bottled the essence of himself. It's absolutely fantastic. He was up on the stage. Such a character up on the stage, just like knocking out jokes here, there, and everywhere. None of us were expecting it. He just had everybody in thrall watching him.
Or also, like, one of the examples, I'm a big fan of Compass Box, not to lie. And what John Glazer brought to the market in the time, the breath, that was incredible. he brought something new, something fascinating, and that's all about stories.
Yeah.
And the person, John is a great marketer, and he learned everything that he could from his former companies and brought it to his personality. And he actually brought the personality to the market and brought Compass Box. And now when you go and visit them, they continue to take the legacy in slightly different way, which is still feeling perfect. So those things are very incredible, and just like SMWS, a story
Yeah.
that every whiskey drinker want to do. Like, let's buy a cask, let's divide it between us. That's the basic.
Yeah.
That's how everything started, and they are now a worldwide institution because they have restaurants and bars and they teach about whiskey, which is fantastic.
It is. It's yeah. I mean, I think the first time I tried, or the only time I've tried Taiwanese whiskey, was a Scotch Malt Whiskey Society one, and it was at Edinburgh Fringe event that they were sponsoring. And I thought, well, like other than that, I probably would never have picked that bottle up. Well, I might have done eventually, but I've got so many other whiskies I hadn't even tried yet in Scotland, let alone getting around the world. But yeah, it's just really impressive, and it's quite. It's just, I mean, I just love the whole. You go in there. I went in for the first time last summer. And it's like when you're a secret society. It's like this little special whiskey club where everyone's like, "We've got you. We're all the same. Come on in." It's like it's a lot of fun, and such beautiful building as well. Really lovely.
The walls are amazing. I love the one underneath. Yep, that's
Yeah.
incredible.
No, really cool. No, I'm not actually a member. I never know whether. I don't think I would make use of it because I live so far away from like Edinburgh, Glasgow, wherever else. But I could see value in that if people are members of it. It'd be interesting to see how many of our viewers are actually members. I don't know. Mike, you're not a member of the Scotch Malt Whiskey Society, are you?
No, I signed up 2019. I gave myself a Christmas present in 2019 and bought the membership, but then obviously the world all went into lockdown about 3 months later, so didn't get the full benefit of it and let it lapse. But I'm always interested to find out, what's going on with it, and some of the casks that you get to try are really, really good. I don't think I've had a bad sample from them. But no, I'm not a member.
This is a nice question. Is it worth visiting the distilleries in Taiwan? Never been to Taiwan, but I'm pretty sure it's worth visiting Kavlan.
We've lost Mike. He's gone. He's away to Taiwan. He's like, that's it, I'm away. I'm going to go visit them.
Koray is just reading and answering the question. So
no, definitely go. Because, yeah, we've got Ryan had mentioned Tasmanian and New Zealand whiskey as well. I was going to try and get back to that too. So it's a good job you are reading the questions. Just keep whittling on.
Yeah. Tasmania and New Zealand, like Tasmanian whiskies have been there for a long, long time right now. And some of them are, worldwide known. It's just the distance, I think, that's making it very hard.
Yeah.
Like Starward had the chance for that, but I don't think I haven't seen New Zealand whiskey in the market for a long time now.
No, my dad brought me back a bottle when he moved. My dad's from New Zealand, so he moved back over to Scotland 2 years ago now, I think, and he took me a bottle over. I've got it on the shelf. I keep meaning to open it one day that my dad and my brother are all at my house. We only live about half an hour away from each other, but we've never made that day happen yet. So like, I need to get them round so I can open this bottle.
You should. For me, the distance is like 15 hours. So
I know that. So does everybody kind of, when you go home, does everybody kind of treat you as the whiskey expert, and when they get their bottles out, or they want to know like what they should buy? Or
every time I go home, I do like 2-3 whiskey tastings.
I bet.
Then, of course, I take some special bottles with me to share with my friends. And actually, last visit, it was fantastic because I was invited to golf club of that whiskey importer in Turkey. And he apparently made all the whiskey club come and meet me that day. So we had a great, 40 people gathering.
That's a good number. Amazing.
That was a good one. Incredible night. And we had some fantastic whiskeys, of course. And it was my last night there. So... the community over there over the years, I love them. And we just met in Whiskey Like Paris.
I would love to get over for that one day. It looks absolutely mental, but in a good way.
That's an incredible one.
Yeah.
We should do that. Especially you can see the different aspects of a whiskey festival which, sorry, Americans, we don't have a good one here.
Is okay. So whiskey festivals in the US, as in Scotch whiskey festivals, is that a concept, or is it like sort of whiskey festivals in American whiskey with a bit of Scotch thrown in
So
there?
let's take benchmark as the Whiskey Show London.
Yeah.
When you take the benchmark as there, whiskey festivals in the US are quite a joke. They are mostly 3-4 hours, and the entrance fee is incredibly high. And so, like, because the time is limited, everybody's just rushing to get tipsy as fast as they
Yeah.
can. And that's something that I don't really like. But benchmark Whiskey Show London, you have multiple day events and one more for the trade, 7-8 hour events with master classes, with some, you don't have to rush for a lot of allocated whiskeys. They'll be there, it, so you take your time. And Whiskey Live Paris is incredibly huge when you know that again, multiple days, longer hours. Then outside of the venue, there's a cocktail street right now, like in the past few years. And if you don't fancy whiskey all the time, you can just have a cocktail, and there are food vendors. The only event in the US is like that is happening. There are two, sorry, that I know. One is Fox City Whiskey Social in San Francisco, which is happening on April 25th. It's a longer day event with master classes, and there are whiskey events in the week before leading to the event in the city, so that's fun. And there is Nth Universal Whiskey Experience, which has been in Vegas for a long time. It is a little bit higher price, not a little bit, it's higher, very high priced. But also there are whiskeys that you won't probably see in your lifetime that you can taste. It's up to the choice. If I was a novice drinker, I would try to go to Fox City. But also, US, let's don't forget, it's a big country. It's a huge one. So for someone coming to San Francisco from, let's say, Dallas is not that easy. So local festivals has to scale up a little bit.
I think Ryan, he's commenting about Whiskey Live Paris. I think Ryan is maybe based in France. Maybe I've just made a fact up about you, Ryan, but I thought maybe you're France-based. With the US, though, and you're right, it's such big distances between states or territories, cities, towns. But I think I've noticed over the years, because we get a lot of American visitors at Glengarry in particular, and the cruise ships have helped with that as well. But I've noticed there are American people's maybe awareness of other Scotch brands other than your kind of big pillar brands, your Glenfiddich, your Macallans, your Glenlivets, seem to be vastly greater than this time 8 years ago when I first started in the industry. You can almost guarantee that if an American walked in, he said, Liam, what whiskey do you know? It would be Glenfiddich or it would be Macallan. Now, like, they're specifically coming because they love Glengarry because they found it in a little whiskey bar somewhere, or, they love their Islas. Do you see that yourself living in?
Absolutely, especially in Southern California, because this is the largest whiskey market in the US.
Okay.
And you can see a lot of wonderful stores and bars that are really serious about what they're doing. And, in the US, there are a couple problems. One of them is how we distribute the whiskey, and because you actually have to have a 3-tier system: supplier, importer, distributor. At the end, the product goes to the retail, and it has to follow all these 3 tiers. And the last step, distributor, is very important. You have to have a good distributor to get into good channels. And I think in California we have a vast investment on that one, and that's why we are, seeing a lot of wonderful whiskeys in the market. Like, I don't necessarily need to buy a lot of things from Scotland or UK when I come, because I can actually find them to a comparable, maybe less price than Scotland. And that is one of the parts of it. But then there's also state regulated places in the US, like Ohio, Utah, Michigan, and there the rules are a little bit different. Their product range is smaller but still good. But again, there is a big interest, and Scotch is one of the most important parts of that interest. And even though the whiskey festivals are not top notch, the brands are putting a lot of investments, doing events, getting them into the back bars, putting like nowadays Instagram ads just to show that they are there. So it is really important. And of course, let's don't forget the fact that the US is also composed of a lot of different nationalities, and these people bring their own familiarities coming from their families. Say like that there's a big amount of Asian community here that love their Kavalan, because when they know it when they go home or when they come back, it's just okay. Let's look for Kavalan. Where's Kavalan? Or same with the Dalmor. A lot of fanatics of Dalmor are coming from different parts of the world and placing it here to their best bars or asking their retailers. So that's really important for us. And of course, the online shopping after COVID, e-commerce changed a lot of things for us.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic to see. I think Ryan was just confirming there that he lives in Paris, and I did think that was the case for you. So big base for whiskey, so many brand ambassadors running around the bars all year, works in hospitality. I get Monday tickets to the Whiskey Live event free, so that's quite good. So local hospitality give out free tickets, which is quite cool. Different from
last day. It's really good.
That's cool. And it makes sense as well, though, because if you've got hospitality, if you've got, bar staff, bar managers coming to a trade day, they're going to be learning about the liquid, which they're going to pass on and promote in their bars. So it's a self-fulfilling kind of cycle. Last year, I did the whole week of thinking I'd spread it out easy. I ended up spending 3 days drinking 3 times the spirit. Yeah, do you know you always go to a festival with a plan? And sometimes, Beth laid plans of mice and men and all that.
I remember my badly planned ones still.
You're lucky you still remember them.
I can. Well, one of them happened in San Francisco when I first moved. But I try to be careful, especially this year. I was incredible in Paris. It's also very related to what you know, what you don't know. I try to drink whatever is new, and that's also like the time concept is really important. When the time is longer, you take your time to understand it. You know that you don't have to drink it right away to go on to the next one. So you enjoy the spirit, you spit it, or you drink it, and you drink it. You have some time to eat something or drink some water, and that's really important. In the shorter festivals, I try to spit. Like if it's 3 hours, I spit.
Yeah.
I have this rule for November, because I go on a diet in November every year to get ready for December. If it's not 30 years and above, don't drink.
that's some rule. I totally get that, but spittoons actually give me the ick. I've been like a farmer for 10 years and I've raised 3 kids. I've seen pretty much every disgusting thing you can see, but there's just something about spittoons that just make me feel a little bit nauseous. But I always kind of try the whiskey and then I'll just maybe tip out the rest of it. So like
that's also possible, yes. So or have your own spittoon, like just have a solo cup or something like that.
Yeah, for sure. It was interesting going out to Denmark to the festival to see them all paying for each dram, because of course everyone has to have a bit more of a measured decision-making process. I mean, I'm sure towards the end everyone's just tap happy with their contactless, but I didn't see as much drunkenness in Denmark as I saw like at some of the Scotch whisky festivals, where sometimes you just get packs of people who are just in to take use like
related with the culture. Danish people, like when I lived there, I did not see a lot of drunk people.
Yeah, I guess alcohol is more expensive out there, isn't it? So it's more of a commitment.
I love the last chat. I'm Scottish. What's spittoon?
Oh, I know. Well, Ian, you're fairly getting through the drams tonight, so you can maybe just hud your drink a wee bit better than I can, to be honest. But we had a Fetter Care mentioned further up as well. We've got Paul McKendrick, who I don't know if you've met him. He's the brand ambassador for Lady of the Glen, I think.
I don't think that I am.
Okay, they're really cool independent bottler based kind of in Fife, but I'm pretty sure their whiskey's out in the US as well. He's on the
14.
Nice. I think I've got a bottle of that somewhere too, because we both picked it up together at the distillery. So I've definitely got it somewhere. But if I go wandering off looking for it, you'll literally just be sat there by yourself. So.
My first year, I drank for the first 2 hours before realizing the spitting was a necessity. Okay, welcome.
Yeah, I mean, everyone kind of makes that first mistake, I think, with their first whiskey festival.
We all do that at a certain point.
Yeah, I think part of my problem is I spend so much time chatting, and sometimes that whole kind of holding a glass and chatting, you realize you're taking sips in between, and you're just chatting away. And you're
Oh
like,
yeah.
hang on a second, I've just drank way too much whiskey because I'm just stood like chatting to somebody.
Last year's Whisky Live Paris was probably my best festival in understanding and talking to people, attending to master classes. I did everything I wanted. So
Yeah, that
was
sounds
incredible.
It sounds good. I know I went to go off some of the kind of European festivals at some point, but now that my kids are all older, I can start traveling and doing all those things. But yeah, it's trying to fit it all in the year. So, what does your week look like as like a sort of because you're obviously quite a varied role and you travel a lot. Is there like an average week for you, or
Oh yeah. It's just like when it comes to work, representing the Dalmore and Fedicane, we are usually out in the market, checking our partners and connecting with our distributors and importers to see how the things are working, especially in this climate of whiskey.
yeah,
We have to make sure that we are just distributing the right way. And this is usually the mornings, but the evenings are mostly about planned events, tastings, and how can we reach out to people? How can we reach out to those people that are sitting at the bar ordering whiskey? That's the main talk right now. And we have some ways to do that. How can we take the back bar space in the most effective way, or during our events? How can we talk to these people? Not that okay, this is 12, 15, and 18. Here you go. No, it's not that. It's just how can we speak to them? So creating events that talk to people, creative events is one of the most important part of our jobs probably. And then there time comes and I'm just leaving for Texas on Monday to join
wow,
my friends in Texas to help them to launch Fedicane, because we are just launching the 12 and 16-year-old right now. So we visit different states, and I'm actually going to those two whiskey festivals later this month in San Francisco and Vegas, just to hold them. But I would say there's a cheesy saying that if you love what you're doing, you're never working one day in your life. So that
yeah,
kind of relates to that, especially when I travel for festivals or events. It is tiring. I'm not gonna say it's not, but especially after some age. But it's still fun. It's still lovely to be able to do those things. And again, I'm doing this because I'm passionate about whiskey. Not that I'm passionate about sales or traveling only. It's just all about getting the brand, getting this culture to people. So that's my time. But I'm also quite passionate about traveling, as you already know. And like this year, I'm visiting Japan,
oh, amazing.
and I have no plans but to eat, drink, and listen to jazz.
Oh,
And I will just visit Hakushu and Yamazaki for sure.
jealous, very jealous.
They're having, but that's my vacation. So my vacations are also a little bit obsessive about these things, but it's also very much built upon these in this industry. This what I like, eat, drink, jazz.
Yeah, I mean, I think what's not like that. That's
That
pretty.
that
I
could
mean,
be a good name for a book, actually. Let me
yeah,
think.
that'll be your autobiography. Well, I'll write the foreword for you. Is that your first time in Japan?
Yes, it will be.
Oh, fantastic. Well, when you go to Yamazaki, just put in a good word for me and see if they'll send me out. That cat, she's a hard worker. You should get out there.
Absolutely, I'll absolutely do that.
We'll have to say hello to Diego, who's just joined the chat. And Mike is coming back on live. He's just sent me a message. His computer was restarting, so he's just
No
sitting
worries.
trying to. I thought it was going to be my one that was going to die first, but no, Mike got there first. Ian saying Vetter 16 is one of the most interesting whiskies I've tried, and that's quite a praise because Ian's got quite a broad. You'll have seen from the chat tonight. He's got quite a broad palette in terms
I
of
agree.
whiskies.
Fedicane 16 is, for me, that shows what Fedicane actually is. Because
Okay.
at Fedicane, we tend to show these tropical flavors of the whiskey. And 16-year-old has that grilled pineapple, a little mango, apricot feeling with a waxy tone and some caramel and oak spices. And this is round up so good at 46.4%, if I'm not wrong. And it is a magnificent whiskey, and I'm just having so much joy whenever I sip that. And I think that that's a really great whiskey that showcases what Fettercane actually is. But also, there's the 18-year-old, and we finished that in Scottish oak, which is showing what Fettercane will do in the future.
Yeah.
So,
Again,
like, love the distillery. Go there, visit there. It's amazing.
100%. Fettercane reminds me a little bit of Glengarry. It's one of those ones that once you try it, you're like, God, yeah, I actually really do like that. Why did I not try this before? Like, it's just one of those ones that's just consistently there. And because you kind of know it's there, potentially just chugging away, that you maybe don't always do a deep dive into it. And then, yeah, once you discover it. And I just love everything that Fettercane have done, the whole kind of verdigris, kind of the VC, the color, the sort of, you know, the external sort of water on the wash still.
Also, yeah, the spirit still has the
Of
cooling
course.
ring on top of it. Yeah, no worries at all. That's how it becomes tropical too, because you technically. So, for the ones who don't know, on our copper pot stills and the spirit still, which is the second still you do the distillation, on the top we have a cooling ring which sprays water on top of the still, like cold water, and decreases the temperature drastically, so that the vapors inside the still, they cannot climb up and they have to fall down. And this is what you call reflux, which every single distillery is trying to do in a way. But the way that Fettercane does is the only example of it in the world. And it's been imagined in 1950s and put in place. And then that reflux gives us a clear, easy drinkable, and light whiskey, as well as the tropical flavors that we are talking about. So it's a really nice way to go and see that. Check the website. You can see some videos. It's really famous right now. And, you know, and as you said, Kat, like the visual identity of Fettercane right now on the bottles are incredible. I might have something here, maybe. Let's see.
Welcome back, Michael.
Hello.
You're back. We're just waxing lyrical about Fettercane. It's one of the ones that you've come to love grudgingly over the years, isn't it? Like, it wasn't your favorite to begin with, but you're getting there. You're getting there.
I found a couple that I've enjoyed. Yeah, I like the last Warehouse 14 edition. The last one I tried was number 2. It was really nice. We have a shop exclusive Fettercane, a 17-year-old from Gordon MacPhail, which is really, really nice. So yeah, there are ones that I like out there. I don't know what it is. It's no, and it's not though. It's just the core range. There's been a couple of indie bottlers that have tried it, and I've just not got on with. But I think we all have that style or that spirit that maybe isn't your best friend.
I was lucky enough to play around with like older Fettercane last year, like Fettercane 40
Right.
and 60, 50.
Whichever.
The 40 is like, okay, I can stop drinking whiskey from now.
If you could only have one whiskey for the rest of your life, it's that kind of style, is it?
Yeah, and there was also this Glenfarclas 68 from the barrel that I had at the distillery, so that was pretty special.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds pretty good. It would be like proper funky old school direct firing,
But again,
big
like,
dirty cold.
things I can afford part. Talisker 18 could be a good one, I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, the old one.
Yeah. I mean, obviously Talisker 18 is a firm favourite of yours, but it's nice you have a firm favourite as well, because you've obviously been exposed to quite a variety of amazing ages, amazing products, amazing liquids. Yeah. So it is nice to have that one that you know you can come back to. That if you just want a solid dram to share.
Whiskies like Springbanks, of course. There has been, like, in my time in Suntory, I tasted a lot of Japanese whiskey, which I am, not exempt to be a fan of every Japanese whiskey, but the Hibiki 17 and 21, they're like quite fascinating. Hakushu 18 is probably my favorite Japanese whiskey.
Mm-hmm.
And being able to taste those and surprising whiskeys like Cavalan and Paul John, and having this much Ardbeg that I cannot drink that much peaty for, I guess, for my bag. I think there are incredible whiskeys that changes time to time to your preference, like whatever you want. Like right now, again, after I get better, I'm probably going to open a really nice, really waxy whiskey and drink it. And that could be Feathercane, that could be Clynelish. It's just up to the occasion.
Yeah, for sure. I also think I quite like a peaty whiskey after I've been ill, especially if it's a cold. It kind of just feels like it kind of opens up all your senses and just makes you feel, I don't know, there's just something kind of natural about a peat, like, I don't know, like a sort of healing effect, potentially, like a nice peaty kind of. I've actually got a peated whiskey tonight because talking about that connection with people, I mentioned I was in Denmark a little while ago, and I bumped into Dougal from Douglas Lane, and then I had some people over at the distillery for a private tour on Tuesday night, and they'd had dinner with Dougal the night before, and I keep thinking, he just keeps popping into my radar. So do you remember we had him on the chat mic and we both fell in love with that? He sent us some samples.
The wine
So it's the big peak. Yeah, it was for Fisheel 2023. And we don't often agree on whiskies at all, Mike. Like, we'll never fight over whiskey. But we both absolutely loved this. And I think I remember it must have been summertime, because I do remember sitting outside on my terrace drinking this. And I don't have a lot of it left, which shows just how much I like it, because I don't drink a lot of whiskey. I just buy it. So, yeah, I'm really enjoying that.
One of my last posts on Instagram has a whiskey called Living Souls 18. And honestly, I'm not a big fan of Lechik.
Okay.
And this friend of mine who owns the Highland Whiskey Shop in Inverness.
Oh yes.
Together after closing Ferret, and we just started, tasting stuff. And he's like, "Let me taste you this." And I'm like, "I don't like Lechik that much." And he was like, "Try it." I tried it, and it was like one of the best whiskeys I tasted.
Is that the 99+1?
I think so. I'm not
sure. It's 99% the Czech 18, and then 1% of, because it's officially a blended malt, I think. Yeah, so good and great value for money as well.
Yeah, it's like under $100.
Yeah, Mike, big fan of that one. I remember. I think you must have promoted to everybody came into the shop, because anytime I spoke to somebody like, "Oh, what's this whiskey Mike keeps talking about?" Like, it's like 1% some other one. I'm like, "It's Living Souls." He's a big fan. You should have just been
lately, there's a whiskey we enjoy a lot with our cigars. I have a private membership club here, and I opened this bottle from my collection. I brought them. I remember the day I bought it because you were there, Kat. So that was the Glengarry 16 Renaissance.
Oh my God. That is my juice. I absolutely love that whiskey. We're going to run out of it this year, and I'm so sad about it.
Now I'm so happy about opening a share.
I do love that whiskey so much. I think it's such a good example. You mentioned it with your Feathercane there. I think the 16 is a really good example of what Glengarry is. It's like, it's malty, it's sweet, it's fruity, it's punchy, it's heavy, it's oily. I'm like, that's just Glengarry, like wrapped up in a purple tartan box. I absolutely love that liquid.
We've got a fantastic Glengarry at the moment from Living Souls. It's a 19-year-old sherry cask, and it's banging. It's so good. It's £100 as well for a 19-year-old single cask Glengarry. It's like, it's not much to sniff at.
We talk a lot about the brands, but these independent bottlers, they are doing a fantastic job of bringing outstanding whiskies. Like Living Souls is SMWS is, in a way, independent bottler. Like Gordon and MacPhail, I think that they are the apex of what they're doing. And, it's just
for sure.
believing in these guys and tasting their spirits is quite interesting. And I think we should all support them more. Definitely.
We've got a few of them watching tonight as well, or one in particular. So, shout out Lady the
You're telling me I have to watch every night. It's like, just, make sure you're watching.
He watches anyway. He's a Blether fan, but if he doesn't watch it, he's dumped also. No, not really.
I usually listen to these conversations in my car, because it takes some time in LA to go to one place to another. So I just open the conversation on YouTube and listen to everything.
I love podcasts just now as well. Like Steve, and we're talking about that with music. There's just sometimes I just can't decide on music, so I just go through my podcast list, and it varies from world politics to whiskey to ghost stories to like raging feminists. I'm like, what am I in the mood for today? Oh, talking of which, not raging feminism, but you did the most lovely post for International Women's Day. I love that little reel you put together. It was really cool. It was just nice. You just it was just quite a kind of positive kind of message. You just toasted. But it was just, I just liked the language you used for it. It was nice.
I try to keep an eye on these important days because most of the people, like, we were just doing this as a family. I consider everyone in the Scotch industry as a family.
That's a nice way of looking at it.
Man, anyway, so let's catch those. That's why I was trying to do this.
I mean, your socials are quite varied, and I was going to ask you about this before, and I'm keeping in mind that we'll probably let you go soon because you're obviously not feeling very well when you're about to start your day. But have you noticed, because your social media is quite varied, it does keep it very engaging because you'll do everything from maybe talking to the camera to potentially like introducing a whiskey to, you know, a get ready with me video. So it's all giving us little snapshots behind the curtain, so to speak. Have you specifically tailored that, or is this just you like, this will be fun, I'm going to do this? Because you were talking about how a lot of social media is very like, people turn up with a film crew nowadays, but it's just you and your camera. Is there a lot of thought process behind that?
It is mostly, I like the, like something pops up in my mind. I was like, I like this idea, let's do that. No shame in that. Like, get ready with me. I don't have the best body. I don't have the best looks.
Good hair.
I have a really good hair.
Better hair than me.
Oh, absolutely. Sorry. I have a sense of fashion in a way that and you know, it's just, I'm going to an award ceremony and whiskey award ceremony, and yes, we get ready for that. It's not like Oscars, but yeah, I do care about my tuxedo, and let's do that. And that's actually why it happened. Or I'm just checking what I did before. Saxophone came from the same thing. Or let's say I did like this post, I did it on New Year's morning, January 1st.
In your jammies.
I was like, okay. That's my robe, I think. And it's like, I love my champagne. So why don't we celebrate it in the bed? Because
you're gonna get
dry January.
Yeah, you're gonna get a wet bed cover now.
That, like, I immediately cleaned that, but that's the idea that just came to me. Like, I woke up and I was like, okay, what am I doing now? And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And it is better than to, you know, put bottles every single day, because I can put another bottle there. There are enough bottles that I can share, but I also want to share what the industry is about, what I do. I don't drink whiskey all the time. I work out a lot. My followers know that. I do work out almost every day when I'm healthy, and I put it there shamelessly because, you know, that's, I think, what the industry is going there. Also, I try to keep people engaged about what's happening in the industry. Like, I posted this thing a couple of weeks ago. It's a liquor store, and this is RTD.
I saw that.
There's an RTD cave.
That's amazing. Where would you even start in there?
Yeah. We're talking about changing habits of people on drinking. And this is actually what's happening in the largest market of the world. And that's nice to show that. Or I was just in London and I paid £30 for a martini, but I cannot martini. So everybody is curious about why it is important. Okay, not a bad message.
I hope it's a good martini.
Really nice to show people things that maybe they are not aware of.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Yeah. So
it's nice.
Restaurant, behind the scenes, what I do as a day, or something interesting that I kind of came across. It is a life itself. It's what I'm going through. So.
But you kind of got to where you are through, like, you know, you obviously decided you wanted to change your career. I mean, that's not an easy thing to do. Like, for anybody else watching, like, what did that process look like at the time? You know, was it a lot of knocking on doors, turning up places, trying to speak to people, or was it some of it just luck and chance?
Scary AF, I'll say.
Yeah, sure.
It is just because it was a time that you just quit your job. You sell everything in your home. You let go of the home. You fly over here, and for me, the first 3 months, I actually stayed on the couch of a friend of mine, and in San Francisco. And then you apply for jobs. At the time, I had the ambassador quality. But I had the ambassador quality in Turkey. I wasn't familiar with this country at all. And that's why I couldn't find a job I wanted. And the first job I got as a spirits buyer I got the spirits by later, actually. I started as a salesperson in a wine store. And that was the lowest paying job ever. Like, I had minimum pay, minimum salary, which I'm not used to because I'm a master's degree engineer.
Yeah.
And I never got that. So that was scary, heartbreaking. You don't know when you're gonna go back to what you want, and it wasn't easy because then I got Paul John, which changed my life drastically. But then COVID happened, and it's like it's up and downs. There has been like the only thing that got me going is just I'm doing what I'm loving, and it will work. It will work in the day. Maybe not today. Maybe I'm not talking to right people. I got into hundreds of interviews in the time that I was looking for a job, and I know that I was declined because I have the social media.
Okay.
They actually not declined. They asked me, if you're not going to close your social media, we're not going to start interviewing. And I'm like, okay.
Okay.
So that was a non-negotiable thing for me at the time, because I think that it brings value to everything I work with, and that's the reason I'm here today. And I think that's, for me, it was like really scary, but at the end of the day, I am at a point that I'm really happy representing incredible brands on my day job, and I'm still able to talk whiskey with you and everyone in the world. Like aside from champagne, because I talk about that, martini, I talk about that too. It's just, this is the life of what we're doing, and that's what I want to show.
I think you're doing a very good job at it as well. Definitely.
100% agree. That's
that's
the palate.
I was just going to give a shout out. I think we briefly mentioned the Woven guys. I think someone in the chat mentioned as well. So I took the chance while I was updating my laptop to nip through. I got this Hazel, who's one of their brand ambassadors, came through and did a shop and popped that. It's so good.
I've got the Manuka smoked one. I think one of the guys had mentioned it further up as well. I've got that one sitting somewhere. It's really cool. But yeah,
I was actually traveling from London to Richmond, like a 1 hour train, and I had this little pouch from the Hearts cut.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
On the way, that was beautiful.
Yeah, we got some good stuff. We had Geordie on the chat about.
Yeah, she is a remarkably, inspirationally busy lady. Goodness, she gets around, and she's got this crazy business mind, this crazy scientific distilling mind, and also a mother of twins. I'm like, just have a wee sit down, like, honestly. Can I get you a cup of tea? She is incredible, absolutely incredible. And I was trying to think as well, we're talking about Filey Bay. Was it Filey Bay and Francis Daphne that were the two whiskies that sponsored the festival we were at?
Yeah,
that's right.
Yorkshire is the distillery. Filey Bay is the whiskey. Is that right? I think.
Yeah. I know I never got to try it, but hopefully we're going to get them on as well. We were speaking to their brand ambassador we're speaking to?
Joe.
Yes. Hopefully he's going to get on the chat soon, because we haven't, to our shame, had any English whiskey companies represented on the Blether yet, or not while I've been here anyway.
No, so I don't think we have.
We'll need to get that fixed as well. But I'm conscious of the fact you are now sort of sniffling and touching your nose there. You've done really well. We've kept you for like an hour and a half, and I know you're not feeling well. We are going to let you get going, but I think we have.
It's a pleasure. You made my day.
Oh no, honestly, you're always welcome, and it would be great to have you back on again sometime. And next time you're up the road, come and past and see us both. So come and see me at Glengeedy, and then go and see Mike's new whiskey and wine bar.
Please do.
I'll be able to visit you when I'm there next month.
Yeah, please do. And for anybody else that didn't get, if we missed any questions, guys, we'll try and get them over to Koray at some point, and maybe he can answer them afterwards.
We're not that far from Bletheren, so.
Bletheren will definitely happen in the summer, so I'll keep you on that.
Yeah, we're only about an hour up the road.
Yeah, love it.
Yeah.
Every place is an hour for me in LA, so distance is not a problem.
Well, guys, if you're not already following Whisky Monster online, please do go and check out his socials for sure. And there's some really interesting reading on his website as well. And yeah, we'll get you back on again at some point in the near future.
I'll be
100%. Thank you so much for that. We'll let the guys go and get prepped for Aquavita. I think he's starting again. He had a week off last week after the festival.
Okay. After the festival.
And yeah, I think there was a lot going on, and I think a lot of people were still hanging around Edinburgh a few days afterwards. So he was, Roy was very much involved in that. So yeah, I think he had a sub in. I can't remember who it was, but yes, he'll be kicking off at 10:15. So people can get their glasses charged. Paul can finish off his homework.
Oh yeah. I think he said he was finished.
Before we go, Kat, who's on next week?
Well, funnily enough, next week, my friend and yours, it's Joel Harrison. So he's going to be, yes, he'll be popping on next week. Somebody else I've also met through Glengarry, and also you've met at various award ceremonies by looks of things from both of your socials. So for anybody who doesn't know, Joel
he was named as the Communicator of the Year this year. So
exactly, yeah. Communicator of the Year this year, and amazing whiskey writer. I think most of you guys at home will have at least one of his books, and he prepares some TV now and again. I think he does the morning brunch show or something.
Yeah, he does the reviews and the drinks and things.
Yes, and very cool guy, really lovely guy. So please tune in for that next week, guys, and we shall see you then.
Looking forward to it.
Some photos of him and I from the event last week.
I saw that.
They're fascinating.
Okay, I want to see the behind the scene pictures.
You're allowed to show them. Probably not.
Maybe.
Awesome. We'll see you all next week, guys.
Cheers, guys. Enjoy your weekend.
Thank you very much.
Cheers, lunch.